So, right, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yoshai, by Hashem Kakadash. We say that when a person has agreements on a rule, teaches a person the truth. And we see salutations, so the Akamas push with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season and season, say Shalom. And once again, going into a video here, and it's basically touching upon this article that says, say goodbye to bank cards, right, which we know majority, if I've been keeping up with the news, and reading certain stuff that's been put out, majority of these countries around the world, if not all of these countries around the world, all of these governments all around the world have been speaking about going cashless, bringing forth a cashless society or introducing a cashless society, right, which would eventually get rid of cards, bank cards, or whatever you may use, like a paper dollar and so forth, and will go cashless, which will eventually go into what the MOTB, because after this, or within their system, they would introduce that chip, right? They would introduce that chip to be implanted inside of you. And again, if you've been keeping up now, I have a next video to do going into how women have been taking implantable birth control. You can look that up and you would see that there are many women that are taking an implant in their hand for as birth control. Right now, if these women are taking those things, already when the MOTB come, right, they would take that, they would implant that RFID chip into them because they're already, taking it for what? Birth control, right? As I said, guys, going into our next video. But as you can see, majority of these countries, these governments around the world are speaking about going cashless, getting rid of bank cards. If you type up, go on Google and maybe type up countries that are going cashless in 2025, you might see a different variety or different a certain amount of countries going into it or already in it, right? So going into the article here, this was it's a banking, this was posted the 1st month 2025, right, which was just some days ago. It said goodbye to bank cards, right? And you can see the picture, someone cutting a bank card. It said many affordable smartphones and smartwatches in South Africa support contactless payments through digital wallet apps, allowing users to leave their bank cards at home or potentially ditch them altogether. So you can see how they're making it sound. They're already allowing users to leave the bank cards home due to the fact that they have apps, the smartwatches, the smartphones to do contactless payments, right? It say in the past few years, all the country's major banks have come to support digital wallet apps, allowing customers to link their bank card details to a smartphone or a smartwatch, right? It say in the past few years, all the country's major banks, so you can see where they're hitting the banks, right, have come to support digital wallet apps, allowing customers to link their bank card details to a smartphone or smartwatch. They can then tap to pay with these devices at regular payment machines like they would with a card, right? They can tap to pay with these devices, pay, so you can see they're talking about pay, which we know when they're already doing these things, it will eventually head to what? To the mark of the beast, the MOTB, which goes into what? To the RFID chip, right? We have seen one of Trump's biggest supporters, or what they would people calling him Trump's right hand man, which is Elon Musk. He have been doing it, which is implanting a chip inside of people's head, inside of their hands. There were conversations about him even having one, which, hey, we wouldn't put it past Esau to do these things, right? And he's been talking about making stuff cashless, making people become cyborgs, making them half robot, half human. And one of the ways they want to do that, one of his ways is implementing a Neuralink, right? They say they can then tap to pay with these devices at regular payment machines like they would with a card, At least four of South Africa's biggest banks have seen transaction volumes and values skyrocket through digital wallets in recent years. And towards the people in these places, not only South Africa alone, but many other places around the world, they would call this type of technology innovative, right? They would call it it's a new is new. We head into a new age, a digital age, which is true, right? But it's something bad than what you all consider to be good, right? But again, they would call it to be innovative, Now I'm going to bring a precept here. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies." And this is such an important thing, to be occupied in prophecies, as we continue to say. Because things like this, reading this, you would understand that it leads into a major prophecy, which goes into the MOTB, right? Because as you can see, tap and pay, swipe and pay, as we've been saying with when the chip come into your hand, how it would be. So, hey, with Esau, everything is a step at a time, right? With the wicked elites, everything is a step at a time, right? So they will bring in the system, you will get some of these people, they're gonna get comfortable not having cash on them and just swiping and going, and eventually they will come with, hey, this is a new thing here with this. This is in their hand. You wouldn't need your cards no more. You wouldn't need your bank cards no more. You wouldn't need your apps no more. You would basically become that your own smartphone. They will make it sound some kind of way, because you know how Esau is, right? The trickery in the tongue, right? The words smoother than butter, right? But as the scripture says, and be occupied in prophecies, and we are to be occupied. These are the things that we are to be occupied in, because eventually you know what it is that heading into. You're to be occupied in the prophecies, and we know we are at the end, right? All these things happening. This is if you watch it, as major countries speaking about these things. Everybody wants to go cashless, saying about the 15-minute cities, which goes into another part of it as well. The 15-minute cities, the getting rid of the bank cards, and the Neuralinks, right? And as you can see here, at least four of South of Africa's biggest banks have seen transaction volumes and values skyrocket through digital wallets in recent years. Four of the biggest banks. So imagine you were someone that you don't want to take the MOTB, right? Which goes into the RFID chip. And all the banks have this system implemented. What is it going to do? People are going to fold. They're going to take it. Because why? They would want to buy or sell, and that goes into, let me go to the Revelation 13, right? You see book of Revelation chapter 13, and I'll start from verse 16, right? They say, and he caused all boats, no, start from verse 15, and they say, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That system that they want to implement, right? Right, so continuing, you'll have to do what? To take that. Sorry, let me continue, right? I'll also take a quick pause for a brief pause for a moment, right? So continuing, let's say verse 16, you say, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. And he caused all, both small and great, so it doesn't matter. All, right? Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Because you could see how they're bringing forward the system. Reading it here, you understand that they say at least four of South Africa's biggest banks. You can see all the biggest banks. Which place I think it was Australia. At a point some years ago, Australia was changing up the system, going into this cashless stuff, and they closed down certain banks, right? And when the people went to the banks was closed down, and then they had was to go to the bigger banks, And when they went to the bigger banks, whatever system the bigger banks had, they had was to follow, to accept, right? Now the people, in Australia, they were protesting against it. They were doing certain things um, about it, talking about it and so forth, right? But they eventually fall, and they all fall to what it is in those particular areas in Australia, right? And as I say, I believe it's Australia. As again, it was a few years ago, and just like that, they all had us to do what to take whatever it is that the banks had, because why? They wanted to buy, they wanted to sell, and so forth. So they already here. They're talking about getting rid of your bank card, going into smartphones and smartwatches, right, which is things in your hand, and eventually there's something coming along this line where it will be inside of you. You would basically become that contactless payment, right, which is to swipe and go, which is, as the scripture saying, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had that mark, right? Save he that had that mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And that mark is not John 3:16. That mark is not the white Messiah. That mark is not something embargo or however. So I know many other things. That mark is going into the RFID, because just like you can read it here, right? You can read it here. No, this is not to the extent of the mark, but as I was saying, in order to buy, right? In order to buy, right, or to pay for certain things, right, they have to do what? They want to swipe and go, and the bank's already bringing forth that. So in this time, as I say, and that no man might buy or sell. So if you don't have these things that they're implementing, you wouldn't be able to buy or sell. So how could it be? How could it be John 3:16? How could it be an embargo, or raising up your right hand, or whatever it is these other camps just want to say, right? How could it be that? And we read in here how it is they want to be innovative. They want to bring something else. So these people do need to have cash, as I say here, allowing users to leave their bank cards at home or potentially ditch them altogether, right? And eventually we know that a man will become that bank card, right? A man will become that payment. It say, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. It say, here is wisdom, that him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. So I'm gonna continue back into the article. It say, white contactless payments already enhance payment security by reducing the risk of cards being cloned. Digital wallets help address some of the concerns South Africans have about the security of contactless payments. Whereas a fast-moving criminal could use a stolen bank card to make tap payments up to a certain amount within a PIN before it is blocked, a digital wallet requires that user to authenticate themselves, right? And now I've used a digital wallet before, right? And yes, to do access to the gate itself, meaning that sometimes you have to type in a password. Majority of the times you have to type in a password, right? And then the payment would go through. But as this is going here, you see how they're making it sound. Like if it's such a nice thing, like if it's such a beautiful thing, no, a criminal, he wouldn't be able to take his stuff and so forth and so on. So you see how the wicked going to make when it's time for that MOTB, how they're going to make it be, how they're going to make it. You see there are videos with them talking about implementing a chip into you for medical purposes, right? To know how your health, to know your brain waves, and there's another, as we're talking about here, to make payments and so on. And we don't read into the script, I talk about no man must buy or sell, right? It say every time payment is made, or at least after a period of inactivity on the device, the user must enter their phone's PIN or password, right? Yeah, which is true. That is what has happened with the digital apps, or supply authenticated biometrics such as a facial or fingerprint scan. That is also true. It's in addition, the digital wallet apps support adding virtual cards. Without loading these cards in a digital wallet app, they can only be used for online payments. The digital wallets can also store travel tickets and loyalty card details, further reducing the need to carry and lots of physical documents. So 3 digital wallet apps support tap to pay in South Africa: Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, and Samsung Wallet. Right, and you could also go and look up. There are certain stores around the world that it's just swipe and go, meaning it have nobody working. You just go and pick up your stuff and you swipe and you go. Hey, we heading into that time, and eventually the decision going to be made to take that MOTB or not. Some would, hey, the men of the law, they would die taking, not taking that chip, right? Eventually, they're talking about a digital wallet app, which eventually you would become that app. You would be swiping your hand to buy or sell, and if you do have it, hey, as his name Dr. Fucci, he said that you will become an outcast, right? You will be thrown out of society, which eventually we know they're talking about this to be killed. But at the end of the day, we rather stand for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai than to stand for this place. Hey, the scripture talk about we are not continuing city here, but we seek one to come, right? So, hey, again, be occupied in prophecy. See the time that we're heading into, right? So with that, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. We see them on Apostle and elders agreements and a rule that teaches our apostle and shoot. And we see salutations so they are coming to the push on truth and sincerity. Day in and day out and constantly in season of season we say, Shalom.